Good morning, sports world and Twitter world, and wherever you're following us from this lovely Tuesday morning, May 25th. I'm Jeff Dawson, your co host of the Breakfast Bankroll, and today we'd like to go over some overnight action. What happened last night, as you can see on the bottom of the page, favorites going 4-4, overs 5-3, and some of the big dogs that cash: Seattle plus 159, the Indians plus 117, and the Rockies go into the Bronx, actually go into New York Mets and come out. I think it was a 4-1 victor. Cashing a nice plus 127. Big slate today in the MLB. Excuse me. 15 games in all. Most are starting game one of the series. We have a handful that are going to game two. A lot to talk about. And without further ado, we'll bring our man, the myth, the legend in, and we will talk with Scotty Beam 'em Up Webb. Scotty.
Morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself, my friend?
I am doing outstanding today. Hopefully, the lawnmower guys out back won't be too much of a distraction for us today.
Short slate yesterday, and when we go from a short slate into a full slate, work prep, anything you do before the night or to get yourself set up. I know we're kind of here at ECSI. It's kind of Groundhog Day every day. Nothing changes, only the teams and the numbers. How about for yourself now? We go again from a short slate to a 15-game slate. How does your overnight to where we are today, how does that work?
Well, what I have to do is try to do make my lines the night before. So I try to stay up with, what the sports books will do. And I don't need the data of the pitchers per se for the exact numbers to make a line. So I do that the night before, and then the data that I need for running the actual handicap of the games really can't take place until about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I have to wait until Fangraphs updates all their data. So that usually happens between 4:30 in the morning and say 5:30 in the morning. And then I list everything out and go over the 30 different pitchers. And then I chart probably, I would say 20 different data points on all 30 different pitchers. So then I list all that stuff out. And once I have an idea of how I can build my story for each game, and then I play them out. So it's kind of an ordeal, but at the same time, it's way easier when you have only 7 games or 8 games than it is when you have 15. I can tell you that.
And you know what? I know we're only 45-ish games into the season, but going back to last year, when we had the shortened season of 62, and you just literally didn't know who was going to be starting the game. Never mind, 30 minutes, late scratch. There were more scratches than, a dog with fleas. I mean, it was just amazing where the books literally weren't allowing you to list pitchers anymore. It was straight action, and that was it. There seems to be more clarity this year. Any reason why?
Well, the only thing that I can see that was from one year to the next was the COVID scenario. But at the same time that you say you have a pandemic and things going on, I sort of believe that there were teams and players that in that 60-game season that they had, they didn't even want to play. So if you're the manager of a team, how can you list a pitcher until you know whether the guy's even going to show up and be ready to go? So this year's a little different in a sense that They go from a 60-game season, and the most anybody started was 12 games, and the most anybody threw was 85 innings. So now they're trying to figure out how do we go 162 games and have to cover all those innings. So they're trying to get pitchers. I don't want to call it rest because that's not the right word. That skipped starts and spacing of how they use their arms, trying to get them to stay healthy through all that time frame. There's teams like the Toronto Blue Jays already had 14 starting pitchers. And you're May 25th and you have 14 starting pitchers already. So it's an amazing kind of scenario even this year in a sense that it's not a common year. So every year, and I always say this at the beginning, every year is different, and you have to kind of pick up on where you can find your value because every year it isn't the same.
15 games. You got team totals, under overs. You have first fives. It's amazing what you can wager on in an MLB baseball game. Like any other sport now, there's nothing that you can't. I didn't even add, first run, first inning, will they score, and yada, yada, yada. When I looked at the board today, 4 games popped out for us. Actually, 3 great pitching matchups, and then there was an eye opener. And so what I'd like to do now for the next 5 to 10 minutes is to break down these games the way we're seeing it. Maybe you have some thought process with your odds and numbers. And then what we'd like to do in the last segment, the lightning round, is turn the stage to you and give us your actual Webby report and what you're eyeing as we progress here. So what I want to do here's our Don Best board right now. The 4 games I have checked off. Let me start with the eye opener. Rotation number 975, 976, a 7:10 first pitch. Atlanta travels to the Red Sox. And what shocked me here was this is Pinnacle opened up Atlanta minus 105. And we basically had a pick 'em at Chris. Currently at Pinnacle, we got the Braves minus 112. And at Chris minus 110. Now, Ground Chuck Charlie Morton has not been that stud that he was last year. And Richard started off real bad and he's come on, but I'm more surprised on the Red Sox opening up as dogs at home, which they have struggled. They got a better record on the road than they do at home. But I think Atlanta is almost like the Twins living off last year's results. Though Atlanta hot and cold, get shut out or score 1 run 2-3 games in a row, and then they put up a 20 spot, 2 days ago. So first initial thoughts on Morton versus Richards.
Well, I lined this game as Boston minus 108. So in theory, if you're 105, 105, that's a pick 'em game. But I have the Red Sox as real tiny favorites, and the implied probability on that is 51.94%. So I don't think that the Atlanta Braves should be the favorite in the game. I already bet this game. I bet on the Boston Red Sox. I got plus 110. I don't know if that's going to still be available later on down the road, but that's what I bet. And sometimes you get burned betting early, and that just relates back to what happened to me yesterday with the Mets. I probably should have waited to see if they had a AAA lineup or not. And they did, and they didn't really have anybody that was there, but that wasn't the handicap in that particular game why I lost. But this game, the way I see it, is that Charlie Morton hasn't been the greatest of anything, and he's off of one of his better starts. He had a game score 69 the last time out, and he's at a 47 for the season. In his last 7 games is a 44. In his last 3 games is a 39. So that means he's been well below average as a pitcher. However, his predictive numbers are 3.92 Sierra number, and that's pretty good, and 3.56 as an XFIP number. So when you start to think about what does he do well, basically what he does is he gets some swings and misses in there, but he's been hittable this year. And he's put guys on base. His walk rate's 9%, and his batting average against is 250. Keep in mind the league average is 237, so it's well above what the league average is. But where I saw the value in the play or the game is that Richards, like you said, was kind of struggling at the beginning, but his game score for the season's a 51. 50 is average, so he's slightly better than average, and Morton is slightly, well, I shouldn't say slightly, 47 is not slightly. He's below average, and over the last 7 starts for Richards, he's at a 56. Morton's at a 44. So you've got a much better pitcher going for Boston right now. The only concern that you would think about here when I look at offense and offense for the Atlanta Braves, they are number 1 in offense over the last 7 days. But a lot of that can be predicted based off of who they've faced. So if they're not, facing the Rays, and then they're, facing the Yankees or somebody like that, where the pitching is really good, you can skew those numbers pretty easily. But you still want to have solid performance. And, I look at it like Boston's right there. I mean, they're top 10 in offense. Atlanta is number 1 in offense. But in my mind, Richards is a better pitcher than Morton currently, and they're playing at home. I don't think they should be the underdog. I think that they should be the favorite, and I bet them that way.
And that was exactly it. I go back to Friday. The eye opener that we had on Friday is when Hendricks opened up -115 at St. Louis, and the Cubs eventually did win that game, and that's the same feeling that I initially had when I saw that one. And as we speak now, Chris has now moved the Sox to -102 and Atlanta to 108. So it'll be interesting to be following that one throughout the day. The 3 games that I have checked off, all great pitching matchups. Some overnight steam, as we like to call it, on this next one here. A 7:40 first pitch, rotation number 959, 960. The Padres at Milwaukee, Musgrove versus Burns. Again, another great pitching matchup. The Padres winning streak at 9 was stopped last night. We like to, ECSI here always talks about after a long winning streak, a team finally loses, there's a good possibility that they lose the next one as well. This one kind of fits into that system. Got some good overnight action on that. Initially, 54% of the bets are on San Diego, but 74% of the money is coming in on the Brewers. The line is moving correctly. Do you have a breakdown on Musgrove versus Burns, Scotty?
Yeah, it's when you make lines, you see things that I think a lot of people don't see. So you have to look at the quality of strength of a team. So how good are the Padres and how good are the Brewers? And the truth is that the Padres and the Dodgers are sitting at 600 winning percentage for the season. That's 97 wins each. So if you then you look at what's going to happen with Milwaukee is slightly over 500. Well, if you just take the pitchers aside and you match those 2 teams up, your number is going to be really pretty high for San Diego because they're a better team. Now, the starting pitcher can affect those numbers and should affect those numbers in a dramatic way. But in this particular spot, you have Burns, who currently is projected to be the 4th best pitcher in baseball, against Musgrove, who is currently projected to be the 11th best pitcher in baseball. So yesterday's game, for example, you had Woodruff and he was against Snell. Well, Snell is not in the top 10. He's not in the top 20. He's probably in the top 35 of the best pitchers in baseball. And Woodruff is going to still be in the top 10. So that's why you can see where yesterday a line where Milwaukee could be favored holds up. Today, I look at it in a sense that, yeah, Burns is one of the top guys in baseball, but he isn't DeGrom. And DeGrom is the king of the world when it comes to that. It really is very difficult to allow Milwaukee to be a favorite when you have such a difference of team strength with San Diego. So my line is San Diego minus 117 in this game, and I know that Milwaukee's the favorite. So that creates value on that side to San Diego, and I do get the idea. And I didn't bet this game, but I get kind of run off a little bit when I like to bet on the home teams as small home favorites if I can, because typically your home teams are going to win 60% of the time, and they're going to win 50% of the time on the road if they're any good. So when I look at this game, both pitchers are really good, but Burns is like excellent. His Sierra number is 1.85, Musgrove's 3.27. Both of those are top, in all of baseball. They both have great strikeout rates. They both get good swings and misses. It's truly a matter of where do you think the offense is going to come from. And as it sits, you want to bet on the Padres when the Padres are hot, specifically when Tatis is hot. And as far as I'm concerned, he's pretty hot right now.
And when I'm looking at a Brewers game, I always double check and see, did Hader pitch the night before? I know they were trying to get him not to pitch yesterday. They had the 5-0 lead and into the ninth, and it actually was 5-3 with the tying run at the plate. So he did have an inning's worth of work. How much he will have available today is obviously up to them. So I'll keep an eye on that game. Third game. Rotation number 977, 978, 810 first pitch. Rematch of the World Series a few years back. The Dodgers traveled to the Astros. Kershaw versus Greinke. We had an opening line of Kershaw minus 130 at Pinnacle and 135 at Chris. Now Pinnacle's got the Dodgers minus 117, and Chris is all the way down to minus 110. And I actually have at Westgate at Nevada, Las Vegas, 105, 105. And then if I look at the ticket breakdown, 64% of the bets have been coming in on the Dodgers, but 56% of the money coming in are the Astros. So we're showing some sharp, heavier money currently coming in on the home team here with Greinke and the Astros. Some reverse line movement to start the day for us. Thoughts on Kershaw versus Greinke?
Well, I kind of like to bet on teams where pitchers don't get hit. And one of the things about Kershaw right now, he has a strikeout rate of 34%, but he has a swing strike percentage. So we talked about this at a time or two before, and we just described what it means. Swing strike percentage is a ball in the strike zone that the batter swings and misses. Your average rate is around 10%. Kershaw is at 20.9. So that means that his ball is moving, and it's moving at a point in which the hitter doesn't do very well against it. Matter of fact, the batting average against is 198. And when you talk about Greinke's going to get hit. He doesn't have the ability to strike guys out. He throws, 50-mile-an-hour curveballs or whatever he calls that thing, that eephus pitch or whatever it is. But he's a crafty veteran pitcher. But I don't like a crafty veteran pitcher that has had a great game the day before, the time before, because that's when he was, they're not going to be on their A game every time. And he threw a game score 84. Now, 84 is a really, really big number. That means he went deep into the game, 8 or 9 innings. He only allowed 1 or 2 hits. and he didn't walk anybody is really what happened. So I don't expect that to be the case today. I like this game for the Dodgers. When the game opened up for me, I saw the line at 127, and it's been being bet down, you say, and I line it at 148 for the Dodgers. That's because, again, that's another one of those 600 win teams, 97 wins, and they're going to be playing against the Astros, who probably are going to be a 540, 550 kind of team in terms of what their winning percentage is. And they're going to do better against right-handers because they can play that left-handed big first base DH guy in there. I forget what his name is. It begins with A. But when those guys are playing and hitting, they're doing well. But offensively, the Dodgers are number 7 in baseball, and the Houston Astros are number 8 in baseball. So as of the last 7 days, and you know, I just can't wait to see when the Dodgers get healthy and bring back Bellinger and everybody else to see, you know, how they just stretch everything out.
I think you were looking for Alvarez. I think that was the name.
Yeah, Alvarez. Yeah, I knew. I'm like, he's got an A. He's a big guy. He's going to be the left-handed batter. He's not even going to play probably in this game.
All right, last game. 8-10 first pitch, rotation number 979. I'm sorry, 979, 980. St. Louis at the White Sox. White Sox continued their bashing of lefties yesterday. They took down Kim, and I think they're 16-1 their last 17, and like 26-4 now their last 30 versus lefties. But great pitching matchup here. Flaherty versus Giolito. And White Sox opened up minus 126, currently minus 139. I do see it hitting 140. The majority of the bets coming in on St. Louis initially, 73% of them, but 81% of the money is coming in on the White Sox. The line is moving correctly. I mean, Flaherty's been lights out, but he's been the beneficiary of great run support. And Giolito, in our eyes, has been not the Giolito of last year. Very hittable at times. Kind of a big number, I think, right now, but your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that this is one of those sneaky games, if you want to call them sneaky. You know, the morning line was 135. You said it's up to what, 140 or something?
It just hit 140 at Chris, yes.
Yeah. My line on this game was 116 for the White Sox. So that creates inherent value in St. Louis. And I'm not sold on Giolito as being an ace. And to be honest with you, if they were to play it, go into the playoffs, and they started a series, I think that he would be their third starter right now. So I think they would go with Rodon and Lynn as 1 and 2, and then they would bring out Giolito as the third guy. And if you put St. Louis in that same spot, they're not going to do that. Flaherty's going to be the guy. So when you got the guy against the third guy, I think that you have an advantage in a sense that your pitcher is going to be better. So I bet this game. I already went over my 3 bets already. I bet this game Flaherty. I bet him, and I got plus 122 on Flaherty this morning. And what I liked here is that Giolito is what I would say an average pitcher right now. His game score is 51. His game score over his last 7 starts is 48. His Sierra number is 410. So 410 is not bad. It's just not good. It's average. And then you throw in what Flaherty does. He's got an xFIP of 359 and a Sierra number 362. But he doesn't put guys on base, where Giolito has a walk rate of 11. So if that's where you run into the problem with these guys is, we talked about it yesterday and the day before, you cannot give teams extra opportunities. And that's what Giolito's issue is. His home run rate is 1.74 per 9 innings. So that's not a good number either. The average number is going to be about 1.15. So that's where he gets in trouble. not only does he walk guys and put them on base, if he gives up a base hit and then the home run, and all of a sudden he's behind 3 or 4 to nothing. And that's where Giolito has been losing his games and been giving up the runs. And I the Cardinals have power. They have guys that can hit the ball out. So I do like the idea that we're getting value on a short or on a good number, and I got plus 122, and I like it.
No, I agree. I just some of the numbers we talk about market manipulation, and I'm waiting to get on our good friend Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consig. If you're listening, we're waiting for a connection here to talk actual what goes on behind the scenes. I know about algorithms. We know about all the numbers behind the guys behind there talking, power rankings, yada, yada, yada. Million ways to skin this cat, Scotty. We try to, at ECSI, to stay away from the past trends, angles. We talked about the White Sox and how effective they've been versus lefties, and we didn't get into that train, and we missed the boat. So I like to say here, if I didn't go to the wedding, well, I'm not going to go to the funeral either.
Yeah.
So it's tough to dive into those. Padres, had rattled off 9 in a row until last night, and your Rays, God bless them, what a game yesterday, have now won 10 in a row. So, what I'd like to do here right now, if I can pull this up, is we're going to have a quick couple seconds here on what we'd like to say is the lightning round here, and we'll get some closing thoughts and basically see what's going on for the rest of the day. All right, Scotty, if you have a closing thought, any thoughts moving forward, any game, any certain thing you're looking forward to tonight?
Well, I really am looking forward to these matchups because I like the Braves matchups with the Red Sox. I like the idea of the Cardinals and the White Sox, the Dodgers and the Astros. Those are all good matchups for me. I'm interested, though, to see what Kluber does today off of his no-hitter that he threw against a team like Toronto, who they just got swept by Tampa Bay. But at the same time they got swept, boy, they were competitive, and they scored lots of runs. The Yankees don't score runs. So it's going to be one of those situations where I don't know what to think of this series with those guys. So if the Yankees don't hit, I don't think they win. And I'm interested to watch that.
It's funny when I checked off the 4 boxes, I must have had my ESPN on or something with you, because we don't usually talk that much before the show, and happen to check off all 3 boxes, so that kind of shows me, we are in tune and on the same page here. For me, I'm really interested in the Atlanta Red Sox game. Sox really, struggling at home. It's an old saying where, if you can win 15 to 20 games plus over 500 at home and then go 500 on the road, you're in the playoffs. And they had years that they've done that, and they've gone, 20 games over 500 at Fenway, and they've been a couple games over on the road. They're just opposites right now, which is kind of surprising. Maybe the warmer weather will start to help them. It hasn't really been the pitching. It's been the lack of offense in some spots, which is kind of funny because, their order is kind of long, and they're starting to bring along a couple of the rooks. Verdugo just got nicked up. Kiki's back. It's going to be interesting, but that's the one game that I definitely have my eyes on for sure. But the other 3 that we talked about are all great matchups. It's a great night for DirecTV. I throw on the mix. I got all 8 games going, and it couldn't be better. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening, watching, reaching out to us. You can interact throughout these shows. If you're on the Periscope/Twitter, just write us a question. We will answer it on the air if we can. If not, we'll reach out to you on social media. Also, if you have 1 second, just run over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, check the like button, and if you got 5 seconds, write a quick review. Rome wasn't built in a day. We know that. We understand that. So we're just putting the pieces together one by one. The next few days right now are up in the air whether we'll be back on this time slot, or we're looking maybe towards a 5:30 p.m. breakfast bankroll. We are unsure that. We'll keep you posted on social media. Scott, as always, it's been great. Look forward to many, many more of these. Best of luck in your wagers today, and we will be connecting real soon. Any closing last second word? The bell is yours.
No, it's wonderful to see baseball having some success, and with all the people getting ready to start going back to the stadiums, and the stadiums being open 100% pretty soon. June's just right around the corner, so I'm expecting to see a lot of bodies in the stands, and a lot of excitement carrying into football.
No doubt about it. I think this weekend, actually, Fenway opens up full. I think they said the 29th. So it's going to be fun for sure. So, all right, everyone here, always invest and wager responsibly. And best of luck with your baseball wagers. And we will see you soon.